Marissa spent the night last night, and when she does, I do not exist.
Because you like that, you like loving scratches, huh? Mm-hmm. He's like, poor so he's like, you're back. Who knew?
What? You're just the one that feeds me. Alright. Hello. Once again, Anime Academy. A little baby clap. Baby clap. For the final time.
Final time. By the way, I'm Laura.
And, Daryl.
There we go. Alright. It took you a minute? I'm a little worried. Okay.
I'm a little sick. Anyway, we are here to talk about Laura's number one. Ends this particular category, which is a little sad. It's been fun.
It has been fun, yes.
Laura, what is your number one film of all time?
My number one film of all time is It's a Wonderful Life.
Ah, yes. The holiday classic. Or now it's a holiday classic. It's a Wonderful Life, released in 1946. Directed and produced by Frank Capra, based on the short story and booklet, The Greatest Gift, self-published by Philip Van Doren Stern in 1943, so a pretty quick turnaround. That itself is loosely based on the 1843 Charles Dickens novella, A Christmas Carol. I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that. Stars James, Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed, Lina Barrymore, Thomas Mitchell, Henry Travers, Balua Bondi, Ward Bond, Beulah, Frank Phelan, and Gloria Graham. Laura?
All right. I'm going to talk a lot about It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
And kind of get all of my thoughts and feelings out and then give you an opportunity, but I'm just kind of going to go for it for a while because this is my favorite movie. The very first thing I have to tell people is for all of Jeff Bezos's crimes against humanity, the worst is the fact that the version of It's a Wonderful Life on Amazon Prime is an abridged version and misses about 30 to 35 minutes of the most important part of the film at the end. So do not watch the abridged version on Amazon Prime. You will miss so much of the movie.
I agree, and just a small interruption. I was like, what did they actually take out? Because it's very clear that most of it is taken from the end.
Yes.
So I watched the actual version and then went and just fast forwarded through the end of the thing. I was like, oh my god!
Oh yeah. The entire What Does the World Look Like Without George Bailey is gone from the abridged version. So yes, so do not watch it on Amazon Prime. So I'm gonna start there. So Daryl did an interesting thing last time talking about his number one favorite movie, which was he went through some ideas of what makes his favorite movie. And so I thought that was really interesting. So I did something pretty similar.
Sweet.
Number one thing that makes first of all, backing up to, this movie has been my favorite movie for 40 something years. So like, since I've watched it, it became my favorite movie. I've never wavered.
Nothing ever even came
nope,
close?
Nothing. Princess Bride is a close second, but it'll never hit the top spot.
Got it, okay.
So the number one thing that makes a movie important to me is an emotional or a familial connection with it. I'm gonna get into the history of this movie and how it got to be in the public sphere, but it was on PBS all the time, constantly when we were growing up in the 70s and 80s. And part of that reason is basically that they forgot to re-up its copyright. It's more of the story, but they forgot to re-up its copyright, so it was free. So PBS used to show it all the time because they didn't have to pay anybody for it. And that's why it became so much out there. My sister loved this movie. It was a perennial holiday classic. Loved this movie. This was the time of my life when I was, fighting with my sister because we were at the right age to do so.
Okay.
So my sister told me to watch it. It was in black and white and it was on PBS. I was having none of that. It was just the trifecta of nothing good could come from that. So finally I got over myself and I did watch it, and from that moment on I just fell in love with it. And it became, again, it is the perennial classic. I watch it every year except for 1997 when Jimmy Stewart died. I could not watch it that year. So, but every year at Christmas and a few in-betweens when I need a really good feel-good moment, I will watch it. Number two big for me is engaging characters.
Good.
So I think George Bailey is an incredibly crafted three-dimensional character, and he's played to perfection by Jimmy Stewart. He gets a bad rap. Everybody out there is like, oh, George Bailey is this perfect, white-bread, straight-laced, angelic character, and he is not. He is absolutely the opposite. When it comes down to it, he will make sacrifices for his family. He will do the right thing, but it's hard. He is he is expressing his feelings of anger and bitterness and jealousy. He thinks what his father does is small. He wants his brother to take over his place in the building and loan, and you can see the longing on his face when you hear that train whistle, and he realizes he will never be on it. He has a terrible fight with the woman that he loves. He doesn't want to admit that he loves her. She wants a traditional family and stay in town, and he does not want that. He's angry with his uncle. He calls him stupid. He says he's not going to take the rap. At the end of the day, he does all the right things, but it is a struggle for him. I look at George Bailey as that whole thing around, a hero isn't somebody who doesn't fear. A hero is somebody who fears and does it anyway. George Bailey has the feelings and feels the regret and feels the loss and feels the things that are going to hurt him personally, and he does the right thing anyway.
Yeah,
so that's why I absolutely love George.
Can I interrupt at any point?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I got two more quick things, but you go and talk about George.
The only thing I wanted to say about that is the film also does a very good job of setting up his joy before taking that joy away
Absolutely,
from him.
yes,
Like,
on several occasions.
yeah, and the two that instantly pop into mind is when his brother comes back from college, and he's
Yep.
like, the agreement was you come back, I'll man it for 4 years, you go away. His brother comes back from college and he brings out the pamphlets and he's super excited to see his brother, but you can tell he's excited to actually move on with his life. And then his brother comes in, wrecks all of that, and you can see in his anger, like the camera comes in on him and you can see him do like that downward little thing with his face, and you can just see the heartbreak as he's resigned himself that this is now going to be his life for at least a little bit longer. The second one is when they're off to their honeymoon and he finally is going to go see the world. He's got cash in hand. He's with someone that he's desperately in love with. They're going to do it. And then there's the run on the bank. And so that can't happen. The film does a great job of setting up, I'm finally going to, but no, now I'm going to pull it all away. And it does it over and over and over again. That's just illustrating your point. It's like he does not do this willingly.
No, he is desperate to get, like even war, he can't even go to war because he's 4F on the account of his ear. So I think like exactly what you're saying, all of those different sacrifices hurt him, and he feels their sacrifice. So kind of the third thing that I look for in a great movie that this one has is humor. I don't know that I have any true comedies on my list. Maybe I have one or two, but I'm not a big comedy fan, but I love humor. And, this has moments, it does not take itself too seriously. George and Mary's date is funny. The lines when she's in the bushes and he's holding the bathrobe and she's like, I'll call the police. They'll be on my side. Like
I could probably sell tickets.
Exactly. It's very humorous when, he's having a serious conversation with his father and the maid is standing nearby. He's like, Annie, would you like me to pull you up a chair so you could hear this conversation more, just better? I think it's very funny. At one point, his mother is saying, go visit Mary. And so he starts to walk and then pointedly goes in the other direction just to annoy her. So it's a ton of humor and some of it's sight gags. Like the, Ernie or Bert holds out their hand for a tip and the other one, their hat pours water in their hand instead. I find that clever. So I like clever, I like humor, and then finally is the well-crafted story. And the bookends, I think, of Clarence at the very beginning and then at the very end when he comes into the present, learning about the important moments in George's life. Everything you see is important.
And reinforced.
And reinforced. There are big things. There's the jumping in the water to save his brother, which you find out, if you're not watching Prime Video, you find out all of the reasons why that is so important. You see, taking of Zuzu's pedals and talking to Zuzu's teacher on the phone actually leads him to get hit in Martini's bar, leads his mouth to be bleeding. Then you can see the difference between
mouth bleeding.
It's my mouth bleeding. So you've got all of those things, and also just little things of, you see the strings that are tied around his uncle's fingers at the beginning of the movie and throughout the movie, and then you realize he didn't come to the wedding because he missed it on the string on his finger. And I just thought that was very sweet. And then finally, you track the message and the moral of the story through, incredibly short little moments, but everything, they're never hitting you with an anvil.
Yeah.
But, there's the as a young boy talking to Potter about that his father was richer than Potter, and as a young man at the dinner table, and his father saying, I want to, him saying, I want to do something big and important, and his father saying, sometimes doing something small can be important, which obviously we find out it all wraps up with, my big brother George, the richest man in town. Which, if anyone wants to see me cry on command, you can just say to my big brother George, the richest man in town, I will fall to pieces. So that's just a fun tip if you're in, Westbrook, Maine. So finally, the two quotes from this movie I love, which is, no man is a failure who has friends. I think that, the whole fact that everybody's life, no matter how small they may feel it is, touches other lives. I love that. And then the other quote, which they never say out loud, but it's the quote hanging below his father's picture in the building alone, is, all you can take from life is that you have given away.
I do remember specifically reading that one this time, yes.
Yeah, and I love that. So it is a great message, it is a great character, it's a great performance, and it's just something that reminds me of my childhood that I've carried into my adulthood. So that's a lot of me. And tell me about your connection with or feelings about It's a Wonderful Life.
So I'm going to start off with an admission. I figured this would be somewhere on your list, and then when I realized it was number one, I was like, oh God. Because this is one of those movies that I think most people have seen at least once, but most people have seen multiple times.
It's got a schlocky reputation.
It does. And so I was not looking forward to it because I was like, oh, I'm going to have to sit through this again. But it happens every time I sit down to watch this movie.
Okay.
Once I start, 10, 15 minutes in. Actually, I always forget how it starts. I always forget how it starts. Yep. And then I'm surprised, like, oh yeah. And then like
the little Clarence Angel piece.
Yep. And I thought I had the wrong version for a second there. So I went back and I was like, no, that's how it starts. But then like 10, 15 minutes in, I settle. And then I watch it. And I watch it with very little interruption because I always forget what a great movie this actually is. All of your things, absolutely. But it is storytelling where everything is firing and coming together seamlessly with just little bits of everything to make a truly classic film. This is a film that I think in 100 years from now people will still occasionally watch because it is that well crafted. And I forget every time how well crafted this movie actually is until I sit down to watch it.
People do because it is, a sentimental favorite, and it is a little bit, there's definitely some scenes in there that are far more melodramatic than we would have today.
Sure.
1946, oh my God, she's a librarian. It's not what you would see today. It's very 1946 coded, but you're right. I think if you get over the just innate prejudice about the movie that everybody has, myself included, you're like, oh, it's a pretty good story.
And also, the premise is something that I think inherently most people anyway actually would like to be able to see play out in their lives. Like, how much do I really matter in the world? That is a fantastic premise that is, I'm gonna say universal, I'm sure there are exceptions, but that's pretty much a universal premise. Everybody would like to see how important they are to others and the world. And a lot of films, even incredibly crafted films, some of my favorite ones, don't explore universal messages. So the accessibility of it, but backing it up with such craftsmanship, that's a rarity in film that you do not see very often at all.
Frank Capra was a great filmmaker. He really was. Just even little bits and pieces of when they're at the dance and Violet is trying to get George's attention and, Marty comes in and talks about Mary. Look at her face. She's pissed off and she's trying to get George's attention and she's annoyed every time they're talking about Mary. Like, look at some of the side characters when your attention is supposed to be on George or Mary, and look at the side characters. They are all in it in the moment.
Yeah, so that would be my principal thing, is that I always forget how well crafted this movie is until you actually go through it. So my suggestion is, if you're like, dude, it's been a while, do I really want to watch that? Yeah, you really do. You really do.
You absolutely do. So go watch It's a Wonderful Life. You don't have to watch it just at Christmas time. So
no, you can watch it anytime.
Watch it anytime. And
we haven't talked about Clarence, though.
Oh, what about Clarence?
He is just,
I love Clarence.
I know, he is so perfectly cast. He's not an idiot
No.
by any stretch,
He's
and he
simple.
gets a lot of people misremember and think he's just
Yes.
like a bumbling idiot
No.
stumbling his way through. He's not. He's just not experienced.
Exactly.
And you watch him figure it out as he goes through. He tries this, he tries that, and he's like, oh, okay, well maybe this will be the thing.
Yep.
And he's very accepting, but he's also very determined. Like,
Oh, he wants those wings.
well, he
Yeah.
does, but also once he makes the choice to take away George's life, he's going to see it through
Yep.
all the way. Like, you have to get to the end and make the choice that you want your life back. I'm not allowing anything else
Yes.
to happen. So he's far more determined, powerful, and brainier, I don't know what the right term would be, than he gets credit
Clever.
for.
Yeah.
Clever, yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just even knowing George will not save his life, but he will save your life.
Yes.
And again, he is he's a person who sacrifices. So he will not save himself, but he'll save somebody else. And you're talking about simple, just kind of who he is, and it's his faith is simple, is the way he's described. And I like that, like a child.
Yep.
They say, and I like that. He believes this is the right thing to do, and yeah, I love the character.
And perfectly played by the actor as well. Like, he plays all
Henry
of that.
Travers. Mhm.
He plays it subtly when he needs to, animated or agitated when he needs to. Like, there is a range that you forget actually exists in that character. I just wanted to mention that because Clarence is so often overlooked as just kind of like, yeah, he's a bumbling who figures it out. Like, no, he's not.